lovelies. Right, I thought I'd quickly come back before I go back to carrying on with my last spell book before Halloween, because we haven't got long now, have we? What are we now? Wednesday, aren't we? So not long until Sunday. So we'll get back to that. But just before, we made the tea caddy, the chai tea caddy the other day, didn't we? And I said, I love this. Look at that. I love that mechanism. And I said, you know what? I think you could do this on other boxes, and you so can. So I thought I would come back. Now, you could do this on any of your boxes. I did have a look at the crystal containers, and I actually think you may be able to do them on those too. Again, I don't know until actually really seeing them. I did look at the top of the square crystal containers, and they do seem to sit flat, don't they? The box part goes underneath, so it's a little bit like a box, shadow box, isn't it? But it's kind of fits on top. So I think you'd be able to do it on there. But I thought, you know what? Let me just come and show you. This is one that I have in my collection. So I thought, let me just quickly come and show you how you can do it, because it is actually so easy. There will be a few ways you can do it. Move you out of the way, don't want that out in there. There'll be a few ways that you can actually do this. You can probably change the amount you're putting on, but let's simplify this and do this the simple way. There is another way of doing it, but let's simplify it to the max. Let's make sure that it's completely simplified. So you are making your lid. So in your instructions, this is your lid, okay? So part 5. So you are going to need everything in part 5, and you're going to stick it. I don't need to show you how we did that, because we did that in the first one of making the actual caddy as it is like this, okay? So you can go back and watch, or find a tutorial, watch how to put that lid. It's so easy, okay? So we're doing that in exactly the same manner. Same amount of circles you're putting together, same amount of triangles. That's your lid, okay? So we'll put that to one side. Now, in order to, and you can do this a few ways, in order to put it onto another lid, like I said, there is different ways of doing it depending on how you want to. Now, my first natural was like, oh, we need to cut this part out. That's the first thing I thought, oh, we must. But then I thought, you know what? We're going to weaken it. If we cut a hexagon there, we are going to weaken it. Now, you could actually do that, re-stick it in. It's a bit more complicated. You could do it, stick it back in, put another layer over it, and then that reinforces it. You could do it that way. So it's not going to, put it this way, it's not going to make too much difference, because they're still going to have the same outcome. So let's do it this most simplest way. So I thought, you know what, actually, if I cut the triangle, which is this piece, right, this is your mechanism, that's your locking mechanism in the kit, in the set. I thought, right, well, let's try doing it just from locking mechanism, right? And let's see if we can put it underneath. So that was my first idea. So in the instructions, you cut 2 pieces out for your box. Well, I thought, you know what, you're not going to need 2 pieces. You're only going to need 1. This was my initial first thought. So you would cut that out, and you put 1 piece at the bottom. Then you put your triangle in to there. Obviously, we're not stuck down. Where are we? You put your triangle in there. It does work, and it locks. Okay, it's a bit difficult for me to do it because it's not stuck down. Let's just see if I can show you. Do you see? We'll do it from this side. So that would be your 2, because you've got the top part, right? Let's just give these a bit of persuasion, because they've gone a bit flat. Let's just give them a bit of persuasion up. You see what I mean? So that's would be your locking mechanism underneath, because we've only got, you see, the 2 pieces. So you're compensating for your 2 piece at the top, and then you have another piece. But then I thought, you know what? Actually, we're going to need to hide the top, right? But we're going to need to hide the top. Sorry, this is not coming out properly because obviously we're not stuck down. So I thought, no, we don't need to do it like that. So I moved it over again. So this is how I'm going to do it. Right. So you will need, these are going to be your 2 pieces. So instead of having these 2 bits, can you see there? Those form part of your locking mechanism. Instead of having those on the top of the box, you're compensating and using this and this. But I will stress, it is important that these are all the same weight of card. So for your decorations, you can't then go and put 300, you know, you use a 300 GSM and then put 200. It's not going to work. You need the same weight of cards. So if you're using 300 GSM on the box, you're going to need to use for the lid, you're going to need to use 300 GSM for this, the same as you would for these. They have to all be the same weight of card, otherwise it will not work. Right, so this is what we're going to do. And, sorry, excuse my messy plates. And this is the first time I'm doing this, because I'm so sure that it's going to work. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to centralise our layer on the top of your lid. Okay, I didn't think actually I should have mopped this up first, the bottom part, so you're going to have to watch me put it all together. Apologies for that. So let's just pop that down first, because we need to make sure that's straight. We're then going to come in with our locking mechanism from the chai tea caddy, and we're going to try and centralise that as best we can. Now you can, if you want to, use this, right? You can do it this way. This is probably an even better way, because then you'll know. So you can use your template, right, to make sure you're getting it very, very central. And then you're just popping in. I've turned it upside down so that we can take it out afterwards. But can you see, you're now getting that completely centralised, she says, right? So you've now got that. You know that this, let's just move that a bit down, just having a look. You've now got that completely centralised, right? So you're just going to take that down, and we're going to cut 2. Now, I am using a very light card weight, because the reason being, because this was really a trial run. So I haven't tried it with I'm just going to run this through the machine. I haven't tried it with a heavier cardstock, but I'll be honest with you, I think it should work with any weights, as long as you're using the same weight. That is really important, okay? It's really, really important. You can't use different weights because it's not going to work. Right, so that should have cut out perfectly. Okay, so we've now got, just a little bit sticky, we've now got perfect centralised, triangle or locking mechanism. It's perfectly centralised. Here we go. Now, you do get, obviously, but you're not going to see that anyway, because the top part is going to go over the top of it. So let's see how it works anyway. Excuse me. Let's see how this works. I think it's going to come out really nice. Right, so you've still got to cut out your, is it 4? 1, 2, 3, 4 bits to go on the top. Okay, so now it's a question, remember, we're doing this exactly the same way, exactly the same amount. We're not changing that at all. I'm simplifying this so that you can use it in the same way. Right, let's get some glue on. Okay, so I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to stick this down first. Okay, now I'm going to use wet glue here. I probably wouldn't. I probably would go for tape. In fact, I should really put some tape in there, because you really want this part, this has to be stuck down, because this is forming, the actual layer is going to form. Let's just put a bit of glue on. It might look a bit funny where we've put the glue, but I would advise you to put tape in between there, okay? That would be my advice. So let's go ahead and pop that directly over. And like I said, it's really, that part is your locking mechanism. Okay, now I'm going to say it again and stress it again. I have used a very light card weight because this is the practiced run. So I think you would need anything up from I'm trying to think what this is. This is probably about 300 that I used on here for this. So you probably, anything from 250 upwards. And then that will give you if it's 250, that's going to give you a 500 top. This is not, I don't even think this is 200. So just bear that in mind. This is a very thin material. Right, so we're then going to just get our hexagons, and we're sticking them on top of each other, aren't we? So we're now going to go ahead and stick them on top of each other. Sorry, I know this is sort of a bit laborious because you have already seen me do it, but I thought if there's people watching who haven't seen the first one of how you actually put it together properly, you know, how it's supposed to be put together, the purpose of it, then you're not going to know, are you? So, you know, if you haven't seen how the lid is formed, please go and watch that one because it's the same. Okay, and it is important, and I keep stressing this, to use the same card weight. But this is a really good idea because I have really looked at it, and you can use this in so many different ways. This locking mechanism, you can change it as well. You can have it going from the inside. Does that make sense? From the inside up. It's very difficult to explain, but it's a very good idea. You could probably even, I mean, looking at this now, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I've got other things now that I could use. Those locking mechanisms like this. And of course, I was thinking you could actually do locking mechanisms like this for your memory books. But I'll have to have a bit more of an in-depth look. This was just a bit of a mess about, it was the night I did this tea chai. When I made that one, it was that night I came back and I thought, oh, let me just have a look. So I was messing about a bit, playing about, you know, having, as we all do, a little bit of fun with our dies. And then just all these ideas started flooding through, and I thought, yes, you know what, if you make that mechanism into a smaller mechanism, if we get smaller dies, you could more than likely use that for your memory books. Right, remember what I said before. Now this is really important, isn't it? Because I got mine slightly, you mustn't, do you remember I told you you've got to get this centralised in here. So this is away from all the corners, otherwise your corners are going to catch. So it's important to make sure that is really centralised there, otherwise your mechanism, you're going to have problems with it. So make sure it's centralised, and also you must make sure this part's really, really stuck down. So wet glue all the way through this. Wet glue all the way through. Right, let's just see, because I really don't want to get, like I did before, caught. That's it. Just had a thought though. If we do it like that, let me just bring that up. It's not going to be centralised on here, is it? So, excuse me, we'll have to do it so that it looks centralised on the hexagon as well, aren't we? So let's just be mindful of that. That's better. So we're centralised a bit more on the, okay, a little bit wonky, but hey ho, that's fine. Oh, right, so let's just put that to one side for 2 seconds while I just pop this together. And you know what, I should have really, shouldn't I? Silly me, should have put tape on these before. So I'm going to try and fly through this. I just wanted to come on and just show you I'm just going to rub these in because less is more with wet glue. And you know, I always say if you rub this in, you don't need a lot of wet glue at all. Rub it into the tabs and they'll stick quite quickly, right? Just get that off my finger. Oh, we haven't got long now, have we, till Halloween? So it's Wednesday today. I think I've still got to finish. I haven't finished putting the... Oh, I don't think I've actually photographed my tree, have I, with all the Tonic lanterns on it? I must do that. I haven't actually completely photographed it. I put a picture on my own Facebook, but I didn't actually photograph it to show you the lanterns. It looks really, really lovely, and it's going up in my window. I've got this big sort of long window, and it's going to sit in there. So all the kids, you know, if they do trick or treat, I don't know. I think we've got forecast rain down here for Sunday. I do hope it holds off a little bit in the evening, just so that they can all go out, you know, and have their fun. Do you see what I mean? It is very, very quickly when you use wet glue and you're putting loads on. Honestly, you don't need a lot, and that's probably why it takes a long time. If it's taking you a long time to dry, you don't really need to stick pegs and things on it. Just use a tiny bit, exactly what I'm doing here, and it will stick very, very quickly. I promise you, it really will stick very, very quickly if you just take off the excess. And also as well, you're getting it everywhere then, aren't you? You're getting it all over the whole tab, which is what you want. Right, we're nearly done. I do apologise. I should have really got this set up, shouldn't I? I should have really got this box set up at the bottom. But do you know what? You know, we've been making, haven't we? We've been making hexagon boxes and light up boxes. And I was just thinking, you know, you could use them on those. If you make the mechanisms, I mean, I'm sure we've got bigger triangles. We don't even need to use a triangle. You could probably even use a square. You could do it on square boxes. We've all got, you know, if you're Tonic fans like myself, we've all got dies and die sets with all these bits in them. So you wouldn't even have to go out and buy any extras at all. You wouldn't have to do that. Right, so I think this is how we do it. I haven't made one of this for ages. I have to confess, I haven't made, oh, I think I did, that's not true, I lie. I did make one not that long ago when I was doing the, what's it called? When I was doing the, yes, the hexagon boxes, when we was doing them for the memory book. I did make one of these very, very quickly, just to show you could use them with your memory books. With the smaller ones, they'd fit in there perfectly. But as for actually doing, I haven't done them for a while. Now I've put a bit of glue in this one. We put it very tight to the bottom, don't we, on this one? I promise you, I'm nearly done. Now this was how we did it, isn't it? Isn't it? Cheers. That's how we did it. Was it right? Is this it? Yes, that's how we did it. Okay, so not far off. We're nearly there, because now all you want to see is if the mechanism works, don't you? Like me. This is going to be a very quick tutorial, everyone. I'm not going to carry on for hours. Right, so this should have dried nicely, okay? Just going to fold these in. Remember, we're going a little bit looser on the top, aren't we? Actually, I'm just thinking, you don't need to, do you? Because you want to make these into caddies. You want to make this into a caddy, don't you? I'm just thinking, so we want that tight at the top, don't we? We actually want that stuck down this time. So actually, we don't need to worry, because we're sticking this down, aren't we? To the top. The same ways as this is all stuck down, and you can get your tea in there, you know. Just going round, and we're going to stick it all together to make our, that's right, Caddy. Right, let's just go down these tabs, and we're nearly there, but it has to be stuck down, that's right, isn't it? It has to be stuck down at the top, the same way as the tea caddy, in order for the mechanism to work at the top. Now, obviously you don't get, see, with the tie, you get these beautiful, this is the only thing with the Caddy, you know, when you're making this box, you get those beautiful edges, don't you, that really finish it off. I mean, obviously you don't have that on here. You can see the mechanism. Where are we? You can see it. I'll show it to you as soon as I've popped it in. I will show it to you. But you've got the mechanism, you see, at the top. So you're going to see the sides, aren't you? You know, you're not going to have anything to cover that up. Not unless anybody's watching and can think of a way to cover that up at the top. You know, so you're not seeing the height of it. Do you see what I mean? But I actually quite like it as a feature, to be honest with you. I do like it as a feature. Remember, this is made using very thin paper, right? This is not thick paper. Now, I wonder if we can do this. So I'm just thinking, can we get our hand in there? This is all, oh, excuse me, glue. This is all going to be fine. But are we going to be able to stick this? We should be able to. Let's see if we can. It might be a bit fiddly trying to get our fingers in. That's the only thing. I actually hadn't banked on that. I hadn't banked on that, getting your hands in to be able to, do you see what I mean now? Well, listen, we find these things out. We find these things out, don't we, as we do them. So just make sure you're getting quite a bit of glue on the top there. I would think that that's important. Right, so I've done it tight, okay, at the top, because we want it tight, don't we? Because we don't want it to come off. Maybe I've done it a bit too tight. No, I haven't. No, it's fine, okay? We can still get our fingers in there perfectly to stick down the sides, right? This is such a fantastic idea. See, this is what I mean about value for money out of your kits. You know, this is what I'm saying. That kit for £20, £19.99 I paid for that, is now so versatile, it's going to work with other kits. Now, I can't do this locking mechanism until that is a bit dry. But it's not bad. You know, it doesn't look... I'm not going to do it yet, because I just want to wait for this to dry, because I don't want it to fling off. It may work without the fling. Let's just pop that in. Perfect. Right, it does work, okay? So you do get, you're obviously not getting that perfect finish, but you can use it. And remember, I'm using really cheap paper, and this is not dry either, but let me move it that way. Do you see? You can make your bigger boxes out of it. You can use this mechanism for other boxes. Now, which way did we turn it? Now I can't remember. There we go. So it comes out really neatly. But do you see, yes, it doesn't look as neat, but it actually, in my opinion, makes a nice feature. Where are we? There we go. There we go. It does make, sorry, it's a bit dirty because I've been using it. Don't use cream card. Don't use cream card, but you can still decorate. I'll decorate this and I'll photograph it so you can see it, and I'll put this tutorial out. But you still are going to be able to decorate these parts with these, right? Okay, maybe they're not going to match, but you don't have to cut the filigrees, you know, the inside, the really intricate detail parts. You can just put the plain on, so it's not going to affect, and then you can use all your panels. You know, if you still want to, you can still use all your panels down the side. So I really do. I am, you know, it's different look, and you are getting that look, but I think it looks fine. I think it actually looks really pretty as a feature. And, you know, once it is decorated, you probably wouldn't even know that that wasn't supposed to go on there. So I actually love this idea. I just wanted to come and share it with you because it's that easy. So all you're doing, just to recap, is you're doing it exactly the same, obviously making this box, not this box. This is the same way. And all you're doing is, instead of having these two pieces for your locking mechanism, instead of having those two bits, you're just using this and a layer on the top of it. That is your replacement for these two. Do you see? But important, and I'll say it one more time, you must use the same card size stock. If you're using 250, use 250 throughout the whole box. Do not change sizes because it won't work, okay? The weight of it, it's all dependent on the weight of your card. If you change the weight, you're going to change the mechanism. You can change it if you want to, but then we're going to start complicating it, okay? This is the easiest way to do it. But you can change things, you can change weights, but then these parts on your lids are going to have to change, okay? You may have to put more on. It depends on what you're doing, but that really is some real thought. We're then talking about real thought going into it. So it's possible, can be done, you can change things, but this is the easiest way to use it on your other boxes, your hexagon boxes. I think it will work on the crystal containers because I'm pretty sure the top of it is flat, so you could stick the crystal containers down. The bigger the box, obviously, we've got to remember that this is perfect because it's not, where am I with my, there we go. This is still okay because we can still kind of roughly get hands in, you can still put things in, but the bigger the box, you would have to make a bigger mechanism for a lid. But it is possible, it's totally possible. And if you're Tonic fans, like I say, and you do have lots of other die sets, where are we? I've got to put that in there. And you do have other die sets, then, sorry, this is because, there we go, it is in, it's in. It's because I've been using this as a test, the poor thing. I've totally lost my train of thought. You get the picture, right? So that is how you use that mechanism on this box. Oh, that was it. If you want to go bigger, you would need to make this mechanism bigger. You probably could have a square. It might not work as, well, I don't know if it would work as well as a triangle. It probably would. Probably could, if you had the square containers, you might be able to do that as a square. But again, more thought process. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Just shows you another different way to use your chai tea caddies and use this locking mechanism. I decorate this, I'll photograph it, and I'll put this out. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to get back to my spell book. I've been cutting out, I'll quickly show you. These always end up because you know why? I could talk of a donkey, right? That's what I've been doing. I've been frantically, inking. I've been inking. I have actually been doing these. I just had to stop a little bit because I've been a bit of a busy gal. But I have been cutting out for my spell books. These, it's not turned out as well as I'd hope. I'm getting there, but unless you're using acetate, it really is pointless. Because I wasn't using acetate, it really is pointless doing it like the way that I've done it. But I was doing it so that you could pull these out, and then obviously underneath we're going to have, this is a spell book family tree. So I'm going to come and finish that. I'm doing another one of the back pages as well. Do you remember we did the where we actually made, I don't know where it is. Well, I think everything's everywhere at the minute. Yes, we did the page. So we did this book so that we can put these through it. So I'm going to make another one of these. I'm going to use it in the book as well. So I'm going to finish that. Next couple of days, that will be done. So I'll decorate that. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next tutorial. Take care. Bye.